The lights dimmed slowly, almost teasingly, as tens of thousands of fans held their breath in the darkened arena. For years they had waited for this exact moment, a moment that felt almost mythical after time, distance, and uncertainty had stretched what once seemed unbreakable. When the first note echoed across the stage, it wasn't just a sound, it was a signal, a return, a promise fulfilled. And at the center of that electric anticipation stood Park Jimin, ready to set the stage on fire. The long-awaited comeback of BTS was more than just another performance. It was an emotional reunion between artists and fans who had grown together, endured together, and dreamed of this day. But even in a group known for powerful performances, it was Jimin who captured the spotlight in a way that felt almost cinematic. As the music swelled, a single beam of light revealed his silhouette. The crowd erupted instantly. It wasn't just applause. It was a roar that carried years of love, longing, and admiration. Jimin took one step forward, and the stage seemed to belong entirely to him. From the very first move, it was clear that he hadn't lost a single ounce of his legendary stage presence. If anything, he had grown stronger, more refined, more magnetic. Every motion of his body felt intentional, graceful, and powerful at the same time. He moved like someone who had spent years sharpening his craft in silence, waiting for the right moment to unleash it. The choreography began with a slow, almost delicate sequence. Jimin's arms traced the air with elegance, his expression shifting between intensity and softness. The spotlight followed him as though it were drawn by gravity. Fans who had watched countless performances over the years could instantly feel the difference. There was a new depth to him, an emotional layer that made each movement more meaningful. Then, as the beat dropped, everything changed. The soft elegance exploded into sharp, powerful moves that sent waves of energy through the arena. Jimin's footwork was fast and precise, his spins perfectly timed with the music. His body moved like an instrument, each motion matching the rhythm with stunning accuracy. The crowd screamed his name, their voices echoing off the walls. Some fans cried. Others simply stood frozen, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. It wasn't just a performance. It was a release of years of anticipation. What made the moment even more special was the way Jimin balanced technical perfection with raw emotion. His eyes told stories. In one moment, they shone with determination. In another, they softened into warmth, as if he were personally greeting each fan in the audience. When the rest of the BTS members joined him on stage, the energy shifted again. The stage became a storm of synchronized movements, powerful vocals, and undeniable chemistry. But even within that collective brilliance, Jimin stood out like a flame at the center of it all. His vocals carried a unique emotional texture that added depth to the song. When he sang his lines, the arena fell into a hush, as if everyone instinctively knew they were witnessing something special. His voice soared over the instrumentals, soft yet strong, delicate yet commanding. At one point during the performance, the choreography called for a dramatic solo moment. The music slowed, and the lights narrowed to a single spotlight. Jimin stepped forward, his expression intense, almost vulnerable. The solo began with a fluid turn, followed by a series of movements that blended contemporary dance with sharp, modern choreography. Each step seemed to tell a story of growth, struggle, and triumph. His body language conveyed emotions that words could never fully capture. Fans later described the moment as mesmerizing, unforgettable, and even life-changing. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of Jimin's solo spread across platforms, gaining millions of views in record time. But the real magic wasn't just in the technical excellence. It was in the sincerity behind every movement. Jimin wasn't just dancing, he was expressing something deeply personal, and the audience could feel it. As the performance continued, the group moved into one of their new songs, a track that combined powerful beats with emotional lyrics. The choreography was intense, filled with rapid transitions and complex formations. Yet Jimin handled it all with ease, his movements sharp and precise. During the chorus, he took center stage once again. His energy seemed limitless, as though the cheers from the crowd were fueling him. He leaped into a high kick, spun, and landed perfectly on beat. The crowd erupted. One of the most talked about moments came near the end of the performance. As the music built toward its climax, Jimin executed a dramatic lift into a mid-air turn before dropping smoothly back into formation. It was the kind of move that required both strength and perfect timing, and he nailed it flawlessly. Even the other members couldn't hide their admiration. Cameras captured brief smiles and nods of approval from them as the performance unfolded. It was clear that they, too, recognized how powerful Jimin's presence had become. After the final note faded, the stage lights softened. The members stood side by side, catching their breath as the audience continued to cheer. Jimin looked out at the sea of fans, his expression a mix of gratitude and disbelief. He bowed deeply, a gesture that felt both humble and heartfelt. The crowd responded with even louder cheers. In the moments that followed, social media platforms became a storm of reactions. Hashtags related to Jimin and BTS quickly climbed to the top of global trends. Fans from every corner of the world shared clips, screenshots, and emotional messages. Many praised Jimin's growth as a performer. Others talked about how his presence on stage seemed stronger than ever. Some simply wrote, "He was born for the stage." Critics also took notice. Music reviewers highlighted his performance as one of the standout moments of the comeback. Some described it as a masterclass in stage presence, while others called it a defining moment in BTS's return. Behind the scenes, the road to this comeback hadn't been easy. The members had spent years focusing on individual activities, personal growth, and new experiences. For fans, the wait had felt endless at times. But the comeback performance proved that the time apart had only strengthened them. Each member returned with new skills, new perspectives, and renewed passion. For Jimin, the journey seemed especially transformative. His performance carried a maturity that reflected years of hard work and self-discovery. He wasn't just performing as the same idol fans remembered. He was performing as an artist who had evolved. During the post-performance talk segment, Jimin spoke briefly to the audience. His voice was soft but filled with emotion. "We waited for this moment for a long time," he said. "And seeing all of you here, it feels like a dream." The crowd cheered again, some fans wiping away tears. "We worked hard to come back stronger," he continued. "Thank you for waiting for us." His words were simple, but they carried weight. They reflected the bond between BTS and their fans, a bond that had endured years of separation and uncertainty. As the night continued, the group performed more songs, each one greeted with deafening applause. But the memory that stayed with many fans was Jimin's explosive performance during the opening set. Clips of his dance moves, facial expressions, and powerful vocals continued to circulate online. Some videos reached millions of views within hours. Fans created edits, compilations, and reaction videos, all centered on his unforgettable stage presence. Even people who weren't longtime fans found themselves captivated. Comments from new viewers flooded social media, many saying they were surprised by how powerful and emotional his performance felt. For many, it wasn't just about technique or visuals. It was about the feeling he created on stage, a sense of connection that transcended language and distance. As the comeback era officially began, one thing became clear. Jimin had not only returned, he had risen to a new level. His performance reminded the world why he had always been considered one of the most captivating performers in the industry. But it also showed that he was still growing, still evolving, still finding new ways to express himself. The stage lights eventually dimmed for the final time that night. The crowd slowly began to leave, still buzzing with excitement and emotion. Some fans replayed videos on their phones. Others hugged each other, trying to hold on to the moment a little longer. But even as the arena emptied, the impact of the performance remained. Across the world, fans continued to watch, share, and talk about the comeback. And at the center of it all was Jimin, the performer who had set the stage on fire and reminded everyone why BTS's return was one of the most anticipated moments in music. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. And Jimin was its brightest flame.